Good morning. It's afternoon here, to be quite fair. I cut yesterday's video short. I said I was going to do an unboxing from my trip to Old Glory, and I'm going to. It's probably not going to take that long. I didn't buy too much stuff, so I think I'm going to talk about Etsy stuff. So this is the first thing I picked up. At first, when I saw him, I was like, oh, it's a Muppet or something. But then I looked again, and he appears to be handmade. He's in like near perfect condition. He's got an amazing expression. I couldn't find anything that suggested he was anything other than handmade, to be honest. He's pretty well made. I know I just said made like 10,000 times, but I was in a pretty bad mood when I bought it. And when I saw him, I was like, man, you cannot be in a bad mood when you're holding this guy. And I only paid $10. So he was a great find. So when I'm out and about, I see a lot of those pose dolls made in Korea. The kind of kawaii ones. I'm not a big fan of them, honestly. Some of the ones that are like sitting or different looking, I pick up at the right price. But the ones I really like are the ones made in Japan. Now, she is spectacular. Unfortunately, she does have some wear. She's an airline stewardess, which are ones that sell for pretty decent money if in good condition, compared to the other ones at least. Now, because of the condition, she probably won't sell for much, but either way, I only paid $7 for her. When I'm out and about, one of my favorite things to find is a rubber face stuffed toy. Rubber face plush, Rushton, My Toy. There's a bunch of different makers. A lot of them are ones that look like ones that sell for a lot of money. It's pretty rare to actually find one that sells for a lot. Like, I've found 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 Rushtons out in the wild in my entire time reselling. And my most expensive one sold was $850, which is insane. Found a couple bears. They sold between $250 and $450, which is amazing, and a snowman that sold for, I think, $500. However, this is not one of them. It's still really unique. Look at this guy. He's got a really unique expression. Now, Rushton will have a tag as well as be underneath the head or on the side of the face like that. This one does not look like it has a maker. If it does, it was covered. But I've never seen this exact one before. Now, this will probably sell for decent money compared to what I paid for it. I only paid $9, which is insane. Normally, the faces are all kind of like nasty and sticky. I mean, it's rubber, and this one's made in the 60s, so it's been around for a while. And then the last thing I bought was this incredibly unique music box. Now, the first thing that struck me about this is it had Billy Joel lyrics on the top. Sing us a song, you're the piano man. I mean, come on. And it is an older one. And then when you open it up, just kidding. So when you open it up, I kind of assumed it was going to play Billy Joel music, which would have been completely wild. Still super incredible. And I love this spiral thing. It works relatively well. It needs a little dust. A little dust never hurt anybody. So yeah, that's all I got yesterday. Now, I mentioned yesterday that I was going to take a 2-week trip and pause my shop. When I said I want to talk about Etsy, I think what I'd like to talk about is, I forgot what I was talking about. I was talking about running a sale. So I personally didn't know this until maybe last year. The way Etsy sales work is that when you run a sale, not a coupon code, but a sale, it will email those the people who favorited that item saying, hey, this item's on sale. So there's there's advertising number one. That's free advertising saying, hey, like you looked at this at some point, you probably forgot about it. Maybe it was a little too much for you. Now it's on sale. Hey, you better grab it. This is how many people have it in their cart, which is sometimes a lot. Like there's items I have that have like 17 people have had it in their cart. And then as soon as it goes on like a 20% sale, it flies out the door, which is awesome. And you will notice a difference. Like if you create a sale with the items that are selling, like when I say I had an item that had 17 people have it in its cart for months, I was like, why is no one buying this? So many people have it in their cart, and Etsy will tell you. But like I said, when I created that sale, it was gone within 20 minutes. So it's because somebody's getting emailed. That being said, Etsy will also email the person who has favorited the item when the sale is about to end within 24 hours. So the best way to run a sale is either for 24 or 48 hours. That's like double reminder, because a lot of people get so much junk email or so much email and they don't really look at it every day. You know, not everyone's glued to their iPhone email. Surprise, surprise. So that's why I create a sale every 48 hours. It says, hey, this item's on sale for the next, 48 hours. Better hurry and get it. This many people are looking at it right now. And then, the next day it says, hey, this item's going to go off sale and this many people are still looking at it. So you better get it now or it might not be there. And sales go up a lot when I run a sale. I will say 10% doesn't really do too much of a difference. I'll do it every once in a while across the board if it's like a busy time of year or I've just run a sale for a long time and I don't really want to run a sale. Most of the times I'm pretty generous with my discounts. There are maybe like 50 items at any given point where I'm like, look, like this is what I paid for it and it's hard to find. You're not going to find another one. This is kind of what it is. And I try to be fair, but the difference between 10 and 15% is big. 15% is your friend, 10% maybe not so much a big deal. But it does, again, draw that attention to the customer because it emails everybody, hey, your item's on sale. The chances of that person not buying it because they didn't want to spend that much and only seeing like a couple dollars off with the 10% are slim. But with the 15%, it looks more generous. That being said, I have found that the difference between 15 and 20% is not much. I was getting about the same amount of traffic, the same amount of sales, maybe one or two extra when I took the average of how many items people purchased or how many sales they got with the discount when I did a 15 and 20%. Like I said, I run a sale every 48 hours pretty much from, the end of Valentine's Day until Black Friday. So I've done a pretty decent amount of research with this. Now, 25% is a bigger difference too. 25% really says like, hey, I really want to get rid of this. Please buy it. And same with 30. But the difference between 15 and 20% were pretty similar. And I will say the difference between 25 and 30% off were pretty similar. Currently, I've been running 40% off promotions on most of my items that I've had for a certain amount of time, just because I'm trying to downsize my shop. Because when I pause my shop, when I go across country, I don't want to come back to a nightmare. I want to come back to a nice, clean office. It's going to be Christmas time. It's going to be crazy. I don't want to see a bunch of the same stuff I've seen before. I want to be able to have money in my pocket to go out there and buy new stuff for the holidays and, and just new stuff in general. Because once something's been sitting for a kind of while, like maybe 2 years, I've had some stuff, which is a long time. I'm ready to get rid of it. And sometimes things get broken in my office too, which totally sucks. I mean, it happens. People also ask, wait, why are you using Etsy and not eBay? Etsy isn't that just for crafts? No, Etsy is not just for crafts. Etsy is for vintage and crafts. And let me tell you, you can make a killing on Etsy vintage if you know what to do. And how do you know what to do? Because I had no idea. When COVID hit, I was freaking out. I'm sure everyone was. I was like, what am I going to do for money? And I just spent hours reading about Etsy and algorithms and keyword searches and all this stuff. And I spent about 8 to 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, building and creating this Etsy shop, right? Now, one big thing is keywords. When you're filling out your listing, you want to put in as many keywords as possible, and you can add tags. It can add up to 10 tags, like vintage kitchen, kitchen, try to switch your words around. But the reason why I think my Etsy shop became as successful as it was, because I used a secret weapon. I used Etsy advertising. Now, these days, Etsy advertising doesn't really do me that much good because most of my traffic is return customers, or since I've had so many listings in the past, people who have favorited my shop and might see something. It's kind of like a better well-oiled machine. However, when I first started, maybe for 3 weeks, I'd see like a couple notifications and I'm like, man, like I'm never going to sell anything on Etsy. I better just join everybody else on eBay. And then I spent $5 a day on Etsy advertising. Now, you only get charged when someone clicks on it. So my budget was $5, but I only had like 50 listings or something, and not many people were looking for it. Etsy will boost your listings on Google, all kinds of search engines. It's really, really lucrative. Rufus, what are you doing? Rufus wants to hear about coupons too. Or that's not what we were talking about anymore. We were talking about what were we talking about? Etsy advertising, right? So Etsy ads, at first I was like, I'm losing money. And I would be spending like $3.50 a day or whatever. However, more people start clicking on it, and Etsy will show you. Etsy's really good with graphs and stuff. Honestly, I find it a lot more useful than eBay. eBay, I was kind of like, what is this information? It's just kind of like, I don't know. eBay's hard for me, and it takes a lot more fees. Etsy only takes 6.5 6.5%, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say, which is a big deal. I mean, and it's only a 20-cent listing fee. So let's say to start a shop, I mean, you don't need to invest that much. Everyone's always like, well, eBay's free, but also everybody's on eBay. Etsy, there's so many ways to make your shop stand out and to get more traffic just from keyword searches, and also if you want to add more words on eBay, you have to pay for it. Etsy, it's just like free basically. It all depends on what you put into it, I mean, the more information you fill out on Etsy, the more searches your stuff's going to appear in. So, when it asks you, hey, what color is this? Put in the color. Some people are looking for something specific, and there's a lot of stuff out there, and it helps weed your search down. I know this is kind of a ramble, but I guess the most important thing is to make sure to fill out your tags. Now, Etsy also uses keyword searches in your description. So if you use a lot of words in your description, chances are your item's going to get found more. The second thing is be patient. If your listing doesn't get much traffic, which you can all see on the Etsy app, in like a month or two, maybe just go in and tweak some of your keywords, just refresh your listing. I will say it took me about 3 weeks to make my first sale on Etsy, and it was a little slow for a couple weeks after that. It started picking up, but between tweaking keywords and using Etsy advertising, I really saw a big difference in my sales. And, the more sales and the more people you attract, the more people are going to favorite your shop. There would be plenty of times where somebody would click on an advertising and they'd be like, they'd favorite it, but then they'd end up buying something else, and Etsy will show you that information. Now, I will say with Etsy advertising, you will have to pay a small fee of the final sale price to Etsy ads, which does kind of suck. But again, it's all chalked up to customer acquisition. You're still paying less fees than you are on eBay, Mercari, all those other sites, which is great. I hope this was helpful, and I'd love to come back and talk about Etsy some more. But I think that's all I got for this evening. run a sale, use your keywords, and I'll see you tomorrow.